Discipline is something that we often praise. It's seen as this positive thing in life, but like everything else, it has its dark side as well. And if you understand this dark side, it will make your life easier and achieving your goals so much more simple. Because one of the biggest issues people have with discipline is they don't really know how to deal with it. So they try to run from it. They try to ignore it. Or when it comes time to be disciplined, they give up because they just don't feel like doing it. But if you understand the dark side of discipline, it makes it easier to handle. Now I'm going to talk about 4 things that I believe are the dark side of discipline. The first being discipline requires pain and sacrifice. You can't have one without the other. Discipline, by definition, means training that prepares you for something. In order to prepare for something, you need to practice. And practicing usually involves some form of pain or discomfort. It could be physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain. This is why most people avoid being disciplined. They don't want to go through that kind of pain. But discipline isn't something that you do every once in a while. It's something that you need to implement into your lifestyle. It needs to be constant. So if you want to live a disciplined life, you need to get used to experiencing pain. Now the question is, what kind of pain? Well, there's 2 different types. If you're working out, you're going to experience that. And then there's the mental pain. The reason why mental pain is so important is because most people can physically endure quite a lot. But when it comes to mental pain, when they're not used to it, they can't endure very long at all. This is why most people quit their diets within the first week. They can't deal with the mental pain of not being able to eat the foods that they love. They'd rather just give up than experience that pain a little bit longer. But here's the thing. All great things require some sort of sacrifice. Nothing worth having in life comes easy. If it did, everyone would have it. Pain and sacrifice aren't bad things. In fact, they're actually good things because they force you to grow. They force you to become a better version of yourself. So if you want to be successful, if you want to achieve something great, you need to learn how to deal with pain and sacrifice. It's unavoidable. Second point. Habits demand discipline. There's this one quote that I love that goes, habits either make you or break you. Habits are such a powerful force in our lives. And it's even been found that our habits are more influential on our lives than the goals that we set. And that makes sense because habits are repeated over and over again. They're done consistently, and in turn, they become automatic. We don't even have to think about them anymore. We don't even have to be conscious of them. But that's also the issue. Just like anything else in life, if we don't use our habits, if we let them go, they'll eventually go away. If you don't constantly work on your habits, they'll eventually fall apart. And the reason why that happens is because habits demand discipline. You can't have one without the other. Here's the thing. Forming new habits is hard. It takes a lot of discipline. You know, you've probably tried to form new habits before. You know how hard it is. It's tough. It's a constant battle between your old habits and your new habits. But once you form those new habits and you start living by them, now it's easy. You don't have to be disciplined anymore. That habit has now become part of your lifestyle. But if you take time off, if you become lazy, your habits will suffer. Your habits will fall apart and eventually they'll go away completely. And then when you want to start them back up again, you have to start all over. So remember, habits demand discipline. If you want to build new habits, be consistent with them. Don't take any time off. Third point, glory hides behind daily suffering. Most people only see the end result. They don't look at everything that had to happen in order to get there. When someone wins a championship, everyone cheers. Everyone celebrates. But no one cheers for the months of training that had to happen in order for that person to get there. No one cheers for the sacrifices that they had to make, the pain that they had to endure. They just see the end results and they say, wow, what a great accomplishment. But they don't see the daily suffering that was required in order to get there. And that applies to everything in life. If you have a successful business, people will say, wow, you must be so smart. They don't realize that you had to spend years learning different skills, dealing with failures, overcoming obstacles in order to get where you are today. And I'm not saying that so I could brag. I'm saying it to help you understand that glory is never as beautiful as they make it seem. Behind every great accomplishment, behind every achievement, there's a lot of suffering that went on in order to get there. So next time you're tempted to quit, next time you're struggling to stay motivated, just remember, glory hides behind daily suffering. If you want to achieve something great, you need to embrace the suffering. You need to push through it. Don't be distracted by the glory, because it's not as beautiful as they make it seem. And my fourth and final point, without discipline, talent dies. Talent is often praised, but here's the thing, talent doesn't always lead to success. In fact, it's quite common for talented individuals to fail. Why? Because talent alone isn't enough. You need to combine it with something else. You need to combine it with discipline. When you combine the two, that's when you win championships. That's when you become successful. But without discipline, your talent becomes useless. It's meaningless. Let me ask you a question. How many talented football players do you think there are in the world? How many talented actors do you think there are in the world? How many talented singers do you think there are in the world? The truth is, there are hundreds of thousands of talented people out there, but we've never heard of them. Why? Because talent alone isn't enough. You need to combine it with discipline. For example, I used to play soccer. I wasn't the most talented guy on the team, but I was definitely one of the hardest workers. I practiced every day after school. I would do extra conditioning. I would work on my weaknesses. And even though I wasn't the most talented, I was easily one of the best on the team. I even got scouted by a professional team. That happened because I combined my talent with discipline. But it's also true that without discipline, talent dies. I could have easily decided to be lazy. I could have decided to not put in the extra work. And in turn, my soccer career wouldn't have gone anywhere. So remember, without discipline, talent dies. You have a talent. Don't waste it. Combine it with discipline. Work hard, and that will be the secret to your success. So, those are 4 of the darkest parts of discipline that most people don't talk about. The first being discipline requires pain and sacrifice. Second, habits demand discipline. Third, glory hides behind daily suffering. And fourth, without discipline, talent dies. Remember these 4 points, embrace them, and that will make your journey so much easier. Now, I have a question for you. What's the hardest part of being disciplined for you? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch my other videos on discipline. I guarantee you'll enjoy them. And finally, if you want to level up in life, don't forget,